Welcome to this Latin American Perspectives podcast. I'm Armando Alvarez, Outreach Coordinator for Latin American Perspectives. Today I am speaking with Pablo Pozzi, full professor at the History Department at the University of Buenos Aires, and is also director of the Interdisciplinary Institute for Latin American Studies, and also issue editor of the January 2015 issue of Latin American Perspectives. It is volume number 42, issue 200, number 1, and the issue is titled Argentina, a Decade After the Collapse, the Causes of the Crisis and Its Structural Changes. Hello, Pablo, and thank you for joining us today. Could you share with us and our listeners what this issue is about?
Let's see. First, I think it's important to consider why does this issue focus on Argentina and the Kirchner governments after the 2001 crisis. I think there's a couple of things that should be considered. First, that the 2001 crisis in Argentina ushered in Latin America what was called the pink wave, a series of reformist governments throughout the area as a result of criticisms to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Next, the collapse, which was important, is still an issue of debate today, and the issue tries to focus on the discussion around that debate. Why was the collapse? What did it mean? And was it induced by sectors of the political opposition to the then government? Or was it merely a result of misguided economic policies? Or was it a reaction from progressive sectors to neoliberalism? The authors don't necessarily agree with either one of these positions or with each other, and they basically discuss several of these things. Then they also discuss the two Kirchner governments after 2001. With the collapse of December 2001 in Argentina, Argentina had 5 presidents between December 2001 and 2003 when elections were called. The last congressionally appointed president was Eduardo Dualde, a Peronist leader belonging roughly to the right wing and who was able to stabilize the situation and at the same time sponsored the Nestor Kirchner for the election. Kirchner won the election, or rather he got a plurality of the vote, and then started to carry out a series of reforms. These reforms and the nature of his government and that of his wife, Cristina, who was elected in 2009 with 54% of the vote, have been also heavily debated in Argentina and elsewhere. Are they progressive or are they really populist conservatives? Are they real? Or did they have substance? Or were they merely cosmetic, or in other words, discourse? These debates are ongoing, and the authors in these issues don't really agree with each other. The authors belong to not only different disciplines, there are sociologists, historians, economists, political scientists, but also they belong to a very wide political spectrum. Part of the wealth, the richness of these issues is that these authors tend to discuss passionately with one another and with different hypotheses and ideas. There are no conclusions, no firm conclusions. Things are still pretty much in the debatable stage. However, there's a lot of research that has been done on Argentina and on its implications, and most of this is reflected on the issue. You have research on economics over the past 10 years, both in terms of causing the crisis in 2001 and in terms of what came afterwards. You have social research also in several of these pieces in terms of labor, peasants, gender, women, and other sectors, as well as political discussion and in terms of whether politics in Argentina have not only substance, but whether they are at a new stage and have changed substantially in the future. Part of the interesting things, I believe, are in the issues that the two editors, Fabio Nigra and myself, really do not agree on any of these issues. We are at odds. The good part is that we try to be constructive about it and passionately debate and at the same time trying to respect one another.
Thank you, Pablo, and thank you for sharing this research with us. The January 2015 issue of Latin American Perspectives can be found online at lap.sagepub.com. You may also find Latin American Perspectives on Facebook at facebook.com/lapjournal. Thank you for your time.